All right, welcome. Today, we are digging into the secret engine that powers pretty much all of modern commerce. It's a technology you've probably never heard of, but trust me, it's the reason almost everything you buy makes it from a factory somewhere in the world all the way to your front door.
I mean, really think about that for a second. You've got a massive company, right? A Walmart, a Toyota, and they're dealing with millions of separate transactions. We're talking purchase orders, invoices, shipping notices, every single day, coming from thousands of different suppliers. How on earth do they manage that constant flood of information without just completely drowning in it? Well, before all this digital automation we have now, the answer was they kind of didn't. At least not very well. The old way involved actual mountains of paperwork, armies of people sitting there manually typing in data from one piece of paper into a computer system. And as you can imagine, that meant tons of human errors, massive delays, and just staggering costs. The modern way, the world we're about to jump into, is something else entirely. It's automated, it's instant, it's accurate, and it's incredibly efficient. So, here's our game plan. We'll start with what I'm calling the chaos of commerce. Then we'll introduce EDI, the universal language that brings order to that chaos. We'll talk about why automation is just so much better, follow a single document on its digital journey, and finally, we'll see how this whole system is the invisible backbone of our global economy. Let's get into it. Okay, first up, the chaos of commerce. The root of the problem is actually pretty simple. You've got thousands, even millions of companies, and they're all using their own unique internal software. So how can company A's computer possibly talk to company B's computer to place an order? Well, the answer is this: Electronic Data Interchange, or EDI. Simply put, it's a way for businesses to send huge amounts of information back and forth using a standardized format. You can think of it like the Rosetta Stone for business. It lets any two systems, no matter how different, speak the exact same language. So, how does EDI actually work as this universal language? Well, its whole reason for being is to create one single, agreed-upon standard that lets any two business systems talk to each other without any hiccups. So how does it do it? Let's break it down into three parts. First, you've got the standards. This is like the shared rulebook, the grammar for the language. You'll see names like ANSI X12 or EDIFA Act. Second, you have the message types. These are just the digital versions of documents we all know, like a purchase order or an invoice, but in that standard format. And third, the really cool part, the translation software. This is the magic ingredient. It takes a company's internal info, translates it into the standard EDI format, and then on the other end, it translates it back so the receiver system can understand it perfectly. Now, I have to make something crystal clear here. EDI is not just a fancy email. You see, email is for people to talk to people. EDI is for computers to talk directly to other computers. It's a super strict, secure set of rules designed for totally automated communication with zero humans in the loop. So we know what EDI is, but why is it so incredibly dominant? Well, the answer is pretty obvious when you think about it. It all comes down to the huge benefits you get when you automate things and take people out of the tedious, repetitive work of typing things in all day. First and foremost, speed. I mean, we're talking about a process that used to take days, mailing a form, waiting for it to arrive, having someone type it in. Now, with EDI, it happens in seconds. For industries like retail and logistics, where every minute counts, that near real-time speed isn't just a nice perk, it's absolutely crucial. Next up, accuracy. Let's be real, even the most focused person is going to make a typo eventually. And a single wrong number on a purchase order, a misplaced decimal, a wrong product code can cause huge, expensive headaches down the line. By having computers talk directly to each other, EDI pretty much wipes out those kinds of human errors. And of course, it all comes down to the bottom line, right? When you get rid of all the paper, the printers, the ink, the postage, and all the hours people spent managing that stuff, the cost savings are just massive. It's a huge return on investment for any business that adopts it. And finally, security. Look, we're talking about really sensitive stuff here. Financial data, patient health records, secret product information. EDI systems are built with heavy-duty encryption and authentication, which makes sending this data way more secure than just attaching a file to an email. Okay, so we've covered the what and the why. Now, let's get to the fun part, the how. We're going to follow a single document, a purchase order, on its totally seamless digital journey from one company to another. The whole thing is like a perfectly choreographed automated dance. It's beautiful. So, step one,
A buyer's system creates a purchase order, and their software instantly translates it into the standard EDI format. Step 2. That standardized file zips across the secure network to the seller. Step 3. The seller's system gets the file, and its software translates it back into a language their own system can read. And the final step, Step 4. The order info is automatically pulled into their sales system, and an electronic "got it" message is sent right back to the buyer. All of that happens in minutes. No paper, no typing, no waiting. And that brings us to our last section, the invisible business backbone. Because once you understand how this works, you start to realize this isn't some niche technology for a few big companies. It's the fundamental plumbing of the entire modern global economy. And the scope is just mind-blowing. It's the lifeblood of the entire supply chain, obviously, from retail giants to car manufacturers. But it's also absolutely critical in healthcare for handling insurance claims and patient info. It runs logistics, scheduling, and tracking shipments. It's used in accounting for invoicing, and even in aviation, banking, and government. It is truly, silently, working everywhere in the background of our lives.
I just love this quote because it's so backwards from what you'd expect. You know, a lot of people figured by when the internet came along, it would make an older tech like EDI obsolete. But the exact opposite happened. The internet didn't replace EDI. It just gave this super efficient standard a faster, more global highway to travel on.
So if there's one thing to take away, it's this. EDI took the slow, expensive, mistake-filled world of paper and transformed it into something fast, accurate, and totally automated. Which leaves us with a really interesting final question to think about. Now that business paperwork is automated, what complex process is next on the list?